The chamber of the Great Council was filled with shadows and cold light. Tall windows stretched high above the round table, showing a city of endless towers and glowing skies. The alien leaders sat in silence, their faces sharp with pride, their voices ready to judge. At the center of the chamber, the humans stood. They had been invited to speak, but the invitation was no honor. The council never invited humans before. It was only because humanity had grown too strong to ignore. The stars were no longer empty for Earth. Ships flew further each year. Colonies spread across dark systems. Trade routes opened. The council saw this and felt uneasy. But uneasy did not mean respect. The human delegation stood with calm eyes. They had asked for a seat among the council, a place where their voice could guide the decisions of the galaxy. They had spoken with reason, with dignity, and with patience. But the chamber was not a place of reason. It was a stage of arrogance. One of the elder aliens leaned forward, his voice low and heavy. Humanity does not understand balance. You are young, reckless, and violent. The council cannot trust you, others nodded. Some even laughed. To them, humans were dangerous animals dressed as diplomats. They spoke of war, of Earth's bloody past, of mistakes and chaos. Every word was used to push humans away. The humans listened. They did not argue. They did not shout. They only stood still as stone. Their silence made the chamber colder, but the council mistook it for weakness. Another alien spoke, her voice like ice. You ask for power you do not deserve. Humanity has not earned its place. You will return to your corner of space. You will obey the laws we set. That is all, the council murmured in agreement. They thought the matter was finished. But then the leader of the human delegation stepped forward. He was tall, his face marked by age, but his eyes burned with something unspoken. He looked at each alien one by one. He did not raise his voice. He only said 6 words. We will not ask again. No more was said. The humans turned and walked away. Their footsteps echoed in the chamber. The council did not stop them. They thought it was victory. They believed silence meant surrender. They did not understand the truth. Silence is never surrender. Silence can be a storm waiting to rise. For a long moment after the humans left, the council sat in uneasy quiet. Some shifted in their seats. Some looked at each other with questions they did not want to ask. Yet arrogance returned quickly. They comforted themselves with old lies. They are nothing. They cannot stand against us. They will learn their place. But those words were spoken to hide fear, not to erase it. Outside, beyond the windows, the city lights burned bright. Ships moved between towers. Traders bargained. Soldiers marched. The galaxy lived as if nothing had changed. But in truth, everything had changed. In that chamber, with those 6 words, a line had been crossed. The council had not seen the danger. They believed humans would bend. They believed humans needed them. They believed power belonged only to those who had ruled for centuries. But they were blind. Humanity had survived worse than rejection. They had survived wars that tore Earth apart. They had survived hunger, storms, and fire. They had survived their own divisions. Now they were united, and unity made them dangerous. The council laughed at silence, but silence was the sound of preparation. Humanity would not march in anger. They would not roar with threats. They would build, they would learn, and when the time came, they would strike. In the chamber, the council's leader rose and spread his long arms. Let the record show that humanity has been denied. Their request is closed. And with that, the council sealed their fate, because far from the city, deep in the quiet corners of space, human ships were already moving. Factories burned through nights without sleep. Engineers designed weapons that no alien mind had imagined. Commanders whispered plans. Colonies gave resources. Every person carried the memory of those 6 words. We will not ask again. Those words became more than a statement. They became a promise. The council returned to their routine. They passed laws. They argued about trade. They sent fleets to patrol borders. Yet under all of it, the shadow of humanity grew larger. The silence of Earth stretched further across the stars. And when silence stretches too far, it breaks. When it breaks, it does not whisper. It shatters. The council had believed they were safe. They had believed humanity would kneel. But already cracks had begun to show. Scouts whispered of strange movements in unclaimed space. Merchants spoke of human ships that refused inspection. Colonies near Earth felt a shift in the air, like a storm building beyond the horizon. Still, the Council refused to see it. Pride is a blindfold, and they wore it gladly. But the narrator's voice lingers on the truth. They would soon remember this day, the day when they mocked and dismissed humanity, the day when humans walked away in silence, the day when the Council smiled too soon. And when they remembered, regret would not save them. Humanity's hidden strength, the Council believed the matter was finished. They thought humans had been broken with a simple vote. In their minds, Earth was too small, too young, too wild to ever challenge them. They mocked the silence. They mocked the calm departure, but silence was not defeat. Silence was the shield of patience. Far from the shining towers of the Council city, deep within the dark reaches of space, Earth prepared. No great speeches were made. No loud declarations shook the stars. Humanity did not waste time on threats. They worked. They built. They planned. Factories on Earth ran without pause. The cities glowed day and night with the fire of machines. Ships were constructed in hidden docks, far from the eyes of spies. Each hull carried secrets in its design, armor thicker, engines stronger, weapons sharper than anything humanity had built before. The Council thought humans lacked technology. They did not understand the human gift. Humans were not the oldest race, nor the richest, nor the most advanced. But they were adaptable. They learned. They studied alien technology, and then they improved it. Where others grew slow with age, humanity grew fast with hunger. On Mars, engineers worked in silence, turning alien designs into human inventions. On lunar bases filled with scientists tested weapons that could pierce the strongest shields. On the asteroid belts, miners sent rivers of metal to shipyards. Every colony, no matter how small, gave something. There was no need for orders. Humanity carried a memory older than the stars. They remembered wars on Earth, when survival meant unity. They remembered cold winters, long battles, and endless suffering. And they remembered what it felt like to be underestimated. The Council thought humanity's violence was weakness. But in truth, it was a teacher. It had shaped humans into survivors, into warriors who could adapt faster than any empire. Still, humanity did not move in haste. They did not rush to strike. They built slowly, carefully, as if each ship was a promise, as if each weapon was a truth waiting to be spoken. Meanwhile, whispers began to spread. Alien merchants spoke of human trade ships carrying weapons instead of goods. Smugglers told of secret fleets vanishing into deep space. Soldiers on the border spoke of encounters with human patrols that carried no fear in their eyes, but the Council dismissed every warning. They called it rumor. They called it nonsense. They believed their own lies, yet among themselves humans were different. In every colony meeting, in every shipyard, the same words were repeated again and again. We will not ask again. The words had become more than defiance. They had become law. In the chambers of human leaders, there was no debate. They remembered the insult, the laughter of the Council, the cold rejection, and they knew there could be no second chance. Humanity would never kneel. Generals spoke in quiet voices. They did not plan conquest. They planned survival. They spoke of fleets that would defend Earth against any empire. They spoke of weapons that would strike harder than fear. They spoke of the day when the Council would see their mistake. But beyond defense, beyond survival, there was something greater, a shadow of ambition. If the Council believed humanity unworthy, then humanity would prove them wrong. Not with words, not with speeches, but with power. The first hidden fleets were ready within months. Sleek warships, unlike anything the aliens had imagined. They did not shine with decoration. They were dark, silent, built for speed and strength. When they moved, they left nothing but silence in their wake. Each ship carried the same mark, not of conquest, not of empire, but of unity. A mark that told every crew member what they were fighting for. Earth, colonies, families, the right to stand as equals in the galaxy. Meanwhile, young pilots trained in secret. They learned to fight in ways no alien had seen. They pushed ships beyond their limits, risked everything in the name of preparation. For them, battle was not glory. It was survival. Humanity was changing. The Council thought humans were still the same species they had mocked in the chamber. But the silence had transformed them. Patience had sharpened them. And while the Council slept in arrogance, humanity sharpened its blade in the dark. Then came the first test. A small alien patrol disappeared near the border of human space. The Council dismissed it as pirates. Then another vanished. Then a third. Still the Council did not see, but the whispers grew louder. Fleets destroyed, colonies burning, entire systems silent, and the one word spoken again and again in the dark halls of alien empires was the same: humans. No one believed it. No one wanted to. But deep inside, the fear began to grow, because the silence was not silence anymore. It was the sound of something rising, and humanity rose. In hidden bases, in secret fleets, in the cold of space, they were ready. They did not ask permission. They did not wait for recognition. They had given their answer the day they walked away. Now their strength was no longer hidden. It was alive, and it was waiting. And the Council, blind and arrogant, had no idea what storm was coming for them. First signs of regret. The first reports arrived as nothing more than rumors. A small patrol fleet of an alien empire vanished on the edge of human territory. The Council dismissed it quickly. Pirates, they said. Accidents, they said. After all, fleets disappear all the time in the cold of space, but the disappearances did not stop. Another patrol was lost. Then a trade convoy. Then a colony outpost went silent. Signals that once flowed with ease across the galaxy grew thin and broken, and slowly whispers began to creep into the halls of power. Whispers that carried one name: humans. At first the Council laughed. They said it was impossible. Humanity had no fleets that could challenge a great empire. They had no weapons that could cut through shields. They had no experience to fight wars in space. It was nonsense, but deep inside, some of the Council members were not so sure. There were details in the reports that did not match pirates. Fleets were not only destroyed, they were erased. Not a single distress signal, not a single survivor. Only silence, silence, the same silence that had filled the Council chamber when the humans walked away. Meetings grew tense. Council members argued with sharp voices. Some demanded investigations. Some called for punishment against Earth. But the evidence was thin, and arrogance is a strong wall. They are too weak, one elder said. It is another empire playing games. Humanity could never do this. But the whispers continued. Traders who flew near human space returned pale and afraid. They spoke of ships that moved like shadows, ships with black hulls that swallowed light, ships faster and stronger than anything they had seen. Still, the Council mocked them. They accused the traders of spreading fear for profit. But when merchants refused to sail near human space, when routes grew empty, when fear began to cost gold, the Council could no longer ignore it. One evening, as the chamber lights glowed dim, a commander from a border empire stood before the Council. His armor was scarred, his eyes hollow. He bowed, but his voice was sharp. "We sent a fleet of 20 ships to patrol the border," he said. "They did not return. The wreckage we found was burned, cut apart in ways we cannot explain. No empire has such weapons. No pirates have such skill. This was not an accident. This was war." The chamber grew quiet. For a moment, no one spoke. Then the commander whispered the word that everyone feared: humans. The Council erupted in noise. Voices crashed against one another. Some denied it. Some demanded proof. Some shouted for immediate action. But none could explain what was happening. None could explain the silence, and then another report came. A Council listening post at the edge of human space had gone dark. Its signal had been steady for years. Now there was nothing. No distress call. No warning. Only silence. The Council's pride began to crack. In private rooms, away from the Grand Chamber, fear grew. The oldest members remembered the look in the human leader's eyes. They remembered the words spoken in that cold voice: "We will not ask again." And now they wondered if those words had been more than anger. Perhaps they had been a promise. Alien spies were sent to Earth. Few returned. Those who did spoke of shipyards hidden in shadow, of fleets training in silence, of weapons being tested on the surface of barren moons. They spoke of unity, of colonies working together with one purpose. Humanity was no longer many voices. Humanity was one. The Council could not understand this. They had ruled for centuries because other races were divided, slow, cautious. But humanity was different. They were restless, hungry, and quick to change. They had taken alien knowledge and made it stronger. They had taken rejection and turned it into fire, and that fire was spreading. In the streets of alien worlds, the people began to whisper in fear. Stories of human power spread faster than the Council could silence them. Mothers warned their children about ships that came without sound. Soldiers spoke of invisible fleets. Merchants swore they had seen Earth's shadow in the stars. The Council tried to calm the galaxy. They said humanity was still weak. They said the Council was in control, but their words rang hollow. Too many fleets were gone. Too many systems were silent, and when power begins to look weak, fear becomes truth. In the chamber, the leaders argued again. Some wanted to strike first, to send a vast fleet to Earth and end the threat. Others feared that such a move would only prove the rumors true. They were trapped between pride and terror, but above all, they felt something they had not felt in centuries: regret. They remembered the day the humans walked away. They remembered the silence in the chamber. They remembered their laughter, their arrogance. And for the first time, they wondered if their decision had been a mistake. Yet regret does not erase danger. Regret does not undo silence, for even as they argued, even as they searched for answers, humanity was moving forward. Silent fleets grew larger, weapons grew stronger, and the day of reckoning drew closer. The Council had thought silence was weakness. Now they learned that silence was the sound of a storm building, slow and unstoppable, and soon the storm would break. The reckoning. The Council chamber had grown restless. For weeks, the alien leaders had argued. Some wanted war, others wanted peace, but none could stop the growing fear. Fleets vanished. Colonies fell silent. Trade routes collapsed. The word humans spread like fire across every empire. Still, the Council hesitated. They believed their power eternal. They believed their fleets too strong, their armies too vast, their technology too advanced. They believed their arrogance could hold back the storm, but storms do not wait. It began on the border of 3 empires. A fleet of 50 Council warships was sent to patrol the edge of human space. They expected to find pirates or smugglers. They expected weakness. What they found was silence. Sensors screamed, and then ships appeared, dark, fast, sharp as blades. Human warships, not the old freighters or clumsy shuttles the Council remembered. These were hunters. Engines burned with power beyond alien design. Weapons cut through shields like fire through paper. The battle lasted only minutes. 50 ships became wreckage drifting in the void. Not one human ship was lost. The Council received the report in shock. Some refused to believe it. Others demanded to see the wreckage themselves. But the truth could not be denied. Humanity had revealed its hand, and the galaxy trembled. Within days, more fleets fell. Entire defense lines collapsed. Systems that once stood secure now echoed with silence. Human ships appeared and vanished like ghosts. No warnings, no speeches, only action. The Council called for unity. They begged the empires to join forces, to stand together. Vast fleets gathered, banners flying, weapons armed. The largest armada in centuries moved toward human space. But humanity did not wait. In the cold of space, hidden fleets rose like shadows breaking free. Thousands of human warships, built in silence, now moved as one. They did not fight with hesitation. They fought with precision, with unity, with the fury of survival. The armada struck. Human fleets struck back. The Council expected a long war. They thought humanity would bleed slowly. But the battles did not drag. They ended swiftly. Human ships moved faster. Their weapons hit harder. Their tactics shifted without pause. Where the Council relied on old tradition, humanity relied on change. and change was stronger. A great battle took place near the twin suns of the Lithiron system. The Council brought 500 ships. Humanity brought less than half. But when the battle ended, the suns shone over the wreckage of the Council fleet, and the human ships stood untouched. The galaxy gasped. Fear turned to certainty. Humanity was no longer weak. Humanity was no longer young. Humanity was power. In the council chamber, silence returned. The same silence from the day the humans walked away. But now it was no longer mistaken for weakness. It was the silence of fear. One elder whispered, "We should have listened. We should have given them their place." But it was too late. The humans sent no messengers. They made no demands. They did not ask for peace, nor for war. They only advanced. Each step forward was a judgment. Each battle was a sentence. The council had mocked them, denied them, laughed at them. Now humanity answered without words. On alien worlds, panic spread. Citizens fled to shelters. Armies trembled. Leaders begged for mercy. But humanity gave none. Not cruelty, not kindness, only silence. The same silence that had once been mocked. At last, the council gathered for one final meeting. Their voices shook. Some demanded surrender, some demanded negotiation. But who would they negotiate with? Humanity had no ambassadors left. Humanity spoke only through action. One voice rose in despair. "We thought they were weak. We thought they were young. But it is we who are weak. It is we who are old. And now they have come to take what we denied them." No one argued. No one laughed. They all knew the truth. The council had defied humanity. And now the price was being paid, and as the human fleets drew closer, as the stars themselves seemed to burn with their advance, the council understood the final lesson. Silence is not surrender. Silence is not weakness. Silence is the shadow before the storm, and the storm was here. The price paid. The council had always believed in their immortality. For centuries they ruled the galaxy. Their words law, their fleets unquestioned, their arrogance unshaken. But now, as the human fleets drew closer, their walls of pride began to fall. The skies above council worlds grew heavy with fear. Armies stood waiting, but their hands trembled. Families hid in shelters, whispering about shadows in the stars. Children asked questions their parents could not answer. And all across the galaxy, one name echoed in silence: humans. The first council world to fall was not conquered with speeches. No ultimatums were given. The humans did not send threats or promises. They simply arrived. Their ships, black as night, drifted above the skies. The defenses lit up with fire. Cannons roared, shields sparked, fleets rose to resist. But resistance lasted minutes. The human weapons cut through walls and skies alike. Shields failed. Warships exploded into dust. Armies scattered before they had even fought. And then, when silence covered the world, the human ships left. They did not burn cities. They did not enslave the people. They left only silence behind. A silence more terrifying than fire, because silence meant they would return. The council tried to rally their strength. Fleets were rebuilt, alliances reforged. But nothing stood against the storm. Every time human fleets appeared, they struck with precision, destroyed what they wished, and vanished before the council could respond. It was not war. It was judgment, and the judgment was always the same: silence. In the council chamber, despair grew like a disease. Leaders who once spoke with pride now argued with fear. Some demanded surrender, but who was there to surrender to? Humanity sent no messengers. Some begged for peace, but humanity answered with silence. One by one, worlds fell quiet. Colonies lost contact. Borders collapsed. The galaxy shrank as human shadows spread. The council remembered the words spoken in arrogance. They remembered the laughter, the dismissal, the rejection. And now those memories cut deeper than any blade. Regret filled their hearts, but regret was useless. Regret could not stop the fleets. Regret could not silence the storm. In one final attempt, the council gathered their strongest armada. 1,000 ships, the might of every empire combined, rose into the void. They swore this would be the end. that humanity would finally kneel, but humanity did not kneel. When the fleets met, the void lit with fire. Alien warships poured weapons into the dark, but the human ships moved like shadows, striking where no one expected, cutting through defenses with merciless speed. The battle did not last hours. It lasted moments. The greatest armada in the galaxy became dust, its wreckage scattered across the stars. And humanity stood unbroken. That was the end. The Council had no more fleets, no more armies, no more power. Their voices, once feared, became whispers of shame. Their cities bowed, not to chains, but to silence. Humanity did not conquer with flags or laws. Humanity conquered with presence. Wherever their ships appeared, silence followed. And silence was enough. The galaxy no longer looked to the Council for order. They looked to Earth, not because Earth demanded it, but because Earth had proven what no one else could deny. They had endured rejection, they had endured arrogance, and they had risen above it all. Now the Council sat in ruins. The chamber stood empty. The round table, once the heart of the galaxy, was silent. No laughter, no arguments, no pride. Only silence, and in that silence they remembered. They remembered the day the humans stood before them. They remembered the 6 words spoken in that calm voice, "We will not ask again." Those words had been a promise kept. Humanity did not need to beg. Humanity did not need approval. Humanity had taken their place with fire, with silence, with strength, and the price was paid. The Council had defied humanity once. They never got the chance to do it again.